Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back to another bonus episode of Borderlands 2. I'm out of breath. Why am I out of breath? Previously, we covered the Lord of the Rings Easter egg that I killed Geary in one shot as Maya's corn. Because that's how it goes with Geary. And today, well, yeah, I also showed what you can find if you raid boss. I only fought Terramorphous on OP0. And I tried to show Verassus, but Verassus is designed terribly, even on OP0. I will kill Verassus, it's just it's going to take some glitches in that. But I will show those kills on Fame in the final episode. So today, we're going to cover, well, overpowered levels. Previously, when the max level in this game was 72, you had to get the ultimate Vault Hunter pass and hit level 72. By going through Digistruct Peak, you will gain one OP level. I'll show one of it. But basically, I will probably do this post-commentary actually. But I'll say right now, when Fight for Sanctuary came out, not only did they increase overpowered levels from what used to be 4 levels to 8 and then to 10. Like that's what Fight for Sanctuary did. It changed it to 10 levels, which no one cared for 10 levels. And as a result, the end game has been completely unbalanced. You may ask, why did the endgame become unbalanced? Enemies like Verassus got doubled health. And I think the reason they did that was because Borderlands 3 was coming out like months after Fight for Sanctuary. So they wanted to get people off of Borderlands 2 by ruining the endgame. It's unfortunate, but how do overpowered levels work? Well, let's go in. When you get to max level and defeated one of Digistruct Peak, you gain 1 OP level. You then have to go through Digistruct Peak again on the next OP level, to get the next one. And so on and so forth. So I have to do it on OP0, then 1, then I have to exit to the main menu, load back in on overpowered 1, then 2, 3, so on. You guys get that point. We're gonna go to 10 because bang, that's the max. But your weapons can usually only hit level 80. But they can now hit level 90 with overpowered 10. So your gear can get incredibly powerful. An extra 10 levels. You yourself, when made level 80, you do not get a free skill point like with the Claptrap DLC, which honestly, missed opportunity. But I guess if you did get 8 extra skill points, it would be enough to have all 3 capstones. So like, if I got 8 extra skill points, I would actually have enough to get to the bottom of the bloodshed tree right now, if I wanted to. So like, yeah. To be honest, I don't think about it. It's nearly possible. But yeah, 8 levels would have gotten me to the bottom. But enemies also become 10 levels higher than you and gain insane health regen. Like if you try and focus damage in between enemies, then they're just going to constantly regen and one-shot you constantly. So, what I'm going to do to show off this episode is I'm going to show you guys a one with post-commentary and talk about the ins and outs of Digistruct Peak, how it's best to handle it as certain characters, because there are characters that handle it a lot better than others. But I will say there is a glitch. I won't be able to show it, but there's a glitch at the very start area to go from this area over there to all the way over here, which you need to do at the end of, like, from overpowered 5 onwards, because at that point extra enemies spawn. But enough of that, it's time for me to take up some post commentary. So I'll see you guys in, well, a bit. Okay, here we go. So, here's Pro from the future. I will say right now, big thanks to Basarici for helping out with a co-op one of Digistruct Peak. It is really annoying. You'll see one around in the video. I can't remember what class you played. I recorded this before I even did the Let's Play. I'm going to be completely real. But, here we go. So, Digistruct Peak is, quite frankly, a big old gauntlet. I've already explained how it works. You run through it, you get an OP level. You then do it on a higher level of OP and you get more and more. So you're going to sort of see me and Basarici just sort of run through it. I think I'm playing Zero and he might be playing Maya, but I'm going to go over some tips and tricks for this video. In fact, there's a document I should open that should have the thing in it. Where's the open button? Open. Digipeak script. So yeah, here are some tips I have, and I'll go over any other advice. You know, it's just there. Can I shrink this? I can, but you know what? It'll do. So yeah, Digistruct Peak can be quite a challenge, especially at the higher levels. There will always be difficulties, and there will always be good team things, good team composition, and different ways to tackle it. I will say right now, there are multiple glitches to get for Digistruct Peak. However, I will start by saying from OP0 to OP4, you will only go so far. You'll see I will fight the assassins with Basarici later on. You'll fight the assassins, sometimes you'll fight Scorch, and you'll even see that I actually get Hellfire from Scorch during this. You'll see a whole ton of enemies like Scorch, the assassins, Saturn. There's only like one new enemy added in the entire thing, and you only find them after OP5, being a bunch of binary code. It translates to, oh my god, what the hell? And oh my god, what the hell can drop pearlescence. Many of them. I already made a weapon guy by this point, I'm sure. So you can let's say that's where you can farm pearlescence. I just recommend loot benches though, unless you're running for OP levels. But enough of that. Let's go with some advice. So zero advice specifically. You know, like for specific characters. With Zero, you can bore, oh my god, what the hell? By shooting a little increment in the middle of him. You'll see me do it at the end. But if you're playing Zero, do not take any points into velocity. It makes boring just much more difficult. So you're better off not having it. It's actually more of a detriment. You are getting bullet damage, but honestly, for mobbing and Digistruct Peak, you should probably just be using a melee build. For the most part, take a Love Thumper, a Hide of Terramorphous, all that good stuff, you know. Take this, take really good melee gear, as you can pretty much run around with a Guag Nozzle most of the time, and just get your health back. And, you know, that's just something that Zero could do. He's good for mobbing in that regards. Ow. I have my hand on the desk. Yeah, Zero can run around and use his melee build, and then for, oh my god, what the hell, he could board him. Maya can blood tricks to, oh my god, what the hell as well. There are tricks for him. But, you know, you might as well have, like, if someone's playing Zero, have them use board, just don't take a point velocity. It's just a piece of advice I have for playing Zero. Most of my tips are character specific, but there are some general ones. One, if you are playing with multiple friends, you might as well play in the same lobby for Digistruct Peak, especially if someone is playing Maya, which I'll get to in a bit. But if you and your friends want to tackle overpowered levels, go ahead and do that. You know, play with your friends, because it's more fun that way and more tolerable. If you're playing solo, you're going to have to learn a lot about the game. But that's the thing, you know. That's just how it is for Digistruct Peak. You can learn many stuff. For Salvador, well, actually no, hold up. My second tip is, if you're playing Gage, anarchy is kind of unavoidable. But I recommend going for a Best Friends Forever build, focused around the Love Thumper for mobbing. And then you can build up your stacks, or have the max amount of stacks possible. The problem is, with Gage, is that if you die, you lose all your anarchy. This is where I would recommend using mods. There's a couple mods for the game that just allow you to click a button and gain anarchy stacks, so you're not sitting there reloading constantly. So I do sort of recommend it, but if you're playing Gage especially, Use a best friends forever build with Love Thumper, so you can use the Love Thumper melee build I shown during the Torque DLC. Use that for mobbing, and then go Anarchy as well. Just as far as you want. Usually half Anarchy will be fine, so honestly, you could just do best friends forever, Little Big Trouble, about half of Ordered Chaos for your build, and that would pretty much do the job. So like, yeah, but if you are playing Gage, play multiplayer, and more specifically, play with Amaya, because at least if you go down, Maya can revive you with Res. That is another piece of advice. If you are playing multiplayer at all, have Amaya with Res. There's been so many times I went into Digistruct Peak and someone had a solo Maya build, which was helping them. They were doing a good bit of damage, but they were usually the first to die. Like around the top area where Tanasol is, if a teammate is in your line of sight as Maya, you can res them. If you are going to join a lobby in District Peak as Maya, you better have a skill point in res. If you do not, you're playing a bad Maya and need to just stop. There have been people I played with before who played a solo Maya build, they were the first to die, and after that they were either stuck just waiting up top and not actually taking res by respecking, or they were just expecting me and everyone else to die. So no, if you're going into Digistruct Peak multiplayer as Maya, have res. If you don't have res, then don't join a DigiPeak lobby. Just leave. Just get out. That's honestly the one thing. A Maya without res is a bad thing. A Maya in multiplayer without res is a really bad thing. It makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, for Maya, have res. Have Ruin or Scorn. I would prefer Ruin, to be honest, because Amaya plays a really good support role in being able to grab an enemy, slag them, and if a teammate goes down, she can revive them. She can also heal teammates by shooting them. You don't really need it. You and your team's going to be all over the place in the District Peak. There's not really a point where you can say, oh, I'll sit here and heal you. Especially with so many people relying on, Guag nozzles or any Moxie weapon. So if you want healing, honestly, mine's better off using skill response healing orbs, because that's like a transfusion. And another thing, if you're playing Maya, or just playing anyone in general, a slag transfusion is probably your best friend during this entire thing. Why? Because, you might as well throw a transfusion, it will heal you or it will heal your friends. No one's going to argue with free healing. And if it's a slag transfusion, like a Lombo slag transfusion with 0 fuse time, even better. That is amazing, and you should be using that. Because then you slag an enemy, they're easier to kill, your friends get healed, and you get to do some free chip damage. So, have that. Next up, there's multiple pieces of advice for Salvador. Firstly, if you're playing Salvador, you can skip the entirety of DigiPeak from OP5 onwards. You can skip from the very beginning all the way to the end, if you have 2 little bada booms and know how to grenade and rocket jump perfectly. I'm not personally good at it, and I'm not going to show that footage, but if you are good at grenade rocket jumping, you can skip Digistruct Peak entirely, and I highly recommend it. Now, if you don't know how to do it and want to be a big help to your team, I don't want to say it, but you could go for Pimp Ahab build with a legendary Hoarder class mod, and you'll pretty much run through Digistruct Peak like that. You'll regen ammo, your team will regen ammo, everyone's going to thank you, everyone will think you're amazing. And there's not much of an argument people can make against it. I don't want to say just Pimp Ahab everything, it's a terrible argument. But it's kind of true. You're better off just doing that build. And if you want survivability of Salvador, just get a Guag nozzle or any Moxie weapon with an uncapped Herald, and you'll be fine. You'll get your health back like that. Salvador makes DigiPeak really boring, but what doesn't he make boring, to be entirely honest with you? But yeah, Zane... Oh, that's it. But yeah, Salvador has probably the least amount of issues in Digistruct Peak in general. You can just Pimp Ahab for one build, Guag and Harold for another build, and have a Hoarder class mod for ammo regen. And if you really want to regen grenades, just equip any of the magic grenades from the Tina DLC, like Magic Missile or that. Do you need to? No. as you'll see through this entire Digistruct Peak one, there's plenty of opportunities to get your ammo back, whether it's killing enemy, killing, destroying like any debris like jack cutoffs or that, or you've even got some ammo, like there's ammo vendors that will spawn about as well. You're fine for that. Next up, this tip is kind of an accident, but it's work. The turret bubble is your friend here. If you want to have some free cover, throw out a turret with longbow and your shield, and it's fine. Slag turret is also good. You know, for a turret, slag an enemy, boom. Honestly, I would just recommend not using middle tree, in all honesty. Well, don't use this capstone. You can go as far as you want in blue tree, but honestly, if you want to be good at support and be good in general in Digistruct Peak, you might as well just run a survival and not impact soldier tree, green and red, and you can get longbow turret at the very least in impact. So you can have two slag turrets that go around, slag an enemy. You can damage them as well. Enemies will occasionally target your turret. There's nothing really bad about it. Next, yeah, Action is a very good support for Digistruct Peak. You can do a solo. It's rough, but you can do a solo. But Action, if you're playing multiplayer, then an active slag turret is always a godsend. You might as well just have one. And this probably Digistruct Peak is probably the area that Action shines the best at. It shows what his survival tree can do. It shows what his turret can do. It's a really good showcase for an Action build, to be honest. Next, if you are playing Krieg, you're going to need some friends. Krieg can do Digistruct Peak solo, but it is considered the hardest challenge in the game by many. There have been only a few people have ever done a 1 life challenge from the start all the way to OP10, where they played the Krieg and succeeded. Krieg has a really bad time. There's a lot of enemies resist explosive, and there's a lot of enemies that can be annoying. Like Dukino's mom can be annoying as Krieg. Like, you kind of have to use the Drunken Hive. Like Basarichi even offered to give me footage of him running through it as Krieg, and he gave up after 2 days. I told him that's completely fine. But yeah, if you're playing Krieg, honestly, have a friend with you and don't put any points in Assault the Wound. Otherwise, your friends will be killing you more than the enemy is. But if you do want to play Krieg multiplayer, you could take Redeem the Soul, and honestly, only revive the Maya, because then if you're in there with Maya and Maya happens to go in a fight for your life, you can one over to her, redeem the soul, get it back up, and she can get behind cover and revive you. Plus, Krieg has multiple ways to get back up. He's got like Diffuse, for example. He has a chance to throw a free grenade, so if he does die, you could make it so if he dies, he throws out like a singularity grenade or a magic missile, something like that, so you can at least take something with him. In multiplayer, if you do have a Krieg in your team, the Krieg will probably die at some point. The Krieg would have to get hard carried for the most part, or do the hard carrying. But yeah, that's just the sort of thing. Krieg is rough. Unless I want to attempt a DigiPeak one as Krieg, but I would lose my mind after like 2 attempts. So I'm not going to. But yeah, I recommend having friends if you play as Krieg. I recommend it for all the characters, but Krieg especially. Let's see. For recommended gear, that's the next tip. Okay. So there is a ton of gear that works in Digistruct Peak. It's kind of down to what you like and what you don't like. Match elements of enemies. Have a Sandhaku, maybe have a Howled, have a Bee Shield in case something gets annoying. But you can do it with pretty much whatever gear you kind of feel like. There are weapons that aren't going to get through. Like, honestly, the fact that no one has done a OP10 DigiPeak one with an Unforgiven is saying something. There are weapons that will work in DigiPeak and there's weapons that won't. But take, the classics. For generic gear, Sandhawk, Howls, Conference Call, Bee, a Pimpernel, like those are general pieces of gear that I can recommend. For relics, have something that... It depends really what you want for relics. In terms of relics, whatever you like, whether it be more elemental damage, more ammo, more health, whatever relic suits your playstyle. For class mod, it's the same argument, whatever suits your playstyle. As for grenade mods, I've already spoken about, but anything that can slag enemies is really good. Single items are also good for zero, so you can bore a bunch of enemies at once. A slag transfusion, a longbow zero fuse version specifically would be great. You can also run shock to go to some beefy shields. I do recommend a really good corrosive weapon like the Hive or the Hornet. They will also help out quite a bit. Because I think you see it during this one, you fight Dukino's mom and she's rough in this DLC. Like, really rough. And, you know, just use the gear that you think will work best for you. Like, I would probably recommend using the Gibbed save editor for this because if you have a mission reward, it won't level up. It will be the level that you get at. So say you took The Beard Makes the Man at level 80. That Grog also will stay level 80. Now yes, the Grog is purely for healing, but you get what I mean. If you got a Sandhawk level 80, not only would you have to run through the entire Scarlet DLC again to get another Sandhawk, but the version that you want. I recommend going to Loot Lemon, and if you look for a gun, underneath this picture, when you click on it, there will be a code. You could copy paste that code into the Gibbed save editor and give yourself the gun. Most of the stuff on Loot Lemon is perfect. There are some outliers out there, but most of them are perfect. And you can use that to get quest times. Because I don't recommend going through for, like, you can get to OP4 with level 80 gear, but then after you kind of have to look at yourself and be like, yeah, I need to get OP4 gear. So for quest rewards, use Gibbed in order to give yourself the version that you want. Whether it be a corrosive flying Sandhawk or, you know, a barking Pimpernel slag, whatever you want. For quest rewards, use Gibbed. I'm saying that right now. Don't just be the person that gives yourself modded gear, because modded gear makes Digistruct Peak so stupid. I will say right now, there have been so many characters I made back on Xbox that were boosted to OP10 through people using glitches and black rarity guns and one-shot enemies. I'm not proud of those characters. Like, at least the characters I have now are legit. So I can at least care about them. And be like, yeah, I'm proud of those builds. But yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Don't just go into a lobby with modded gear. There used to be a glitch where people would drop so many items you'd fall through the floor. I can recommend that glitch, especially if someone has like an infinite inventory. But I just think, if you go through Digistruct Peak with black rarity gear, then you can't really be proud of the build. It's just fine. But another tip that I could say for Digistruct Peak is that OP levels have probably imbalanced the game. Like, Fight for Sanctuary is not really a polarizing DLC. Most people agree that OP10 is stupid, myself included. But deep down, overpowered levels are completely optional. You don't have to do them. If you want to just go with level 80 gear, you can go with level 80 gear. I'm not going to stop you from doing that. And also, I would recommend just playing on OP0 anyways. If you want to be the biggest badass in the Borderlands, then sure, go right ahead, go to OP10. But if you don't care for OP levels, don't do them. No one's forcing you to do them. And you'd have to buy Ultimate Ball Hunter Pass 1, 2, and Fight for Sanctuary to even be able to tackle them. That's like £11 at the moment. So I wouldn't recommend it. It's just a thing. But we should be near the final boss right about now, so I'll just let the rest of the footage play. And I will see you guys in the next episode, which might be the finale actually. But I'll see you guys then.